Good morning. I think we're good here. I want to thank everybody for coming, and it's just great to see the room so packed and full of people who are interested in this new idea, this new vision that we'll be launching at Brown starting very soon. My name's Chris Paxson. I'm president of Brown, and it's great to see so many familiar faces here. You know, it's interesting. I came to Rhode Island, I think, on June 15th, even before I started. And my first week here, Catherine Bergeron and Roger Nozaki came to see me. I wasn't even in my office. And they said, we have this idea to do something that is very innovative, that connects research and education and social engagement, and, you know, in a really creative way. And they wanted to develop it. And at that point I said, sounds great, go think about this and come back and you know, really interesting. And so it was wonderful to find out that within, you know, less than a year, and I should say things normally happen very slowly in academics, so less than a year is great. We have now this fully fledged plan that in the course of its development has engaged large numbers of people, faculty and students and members of the community. And we are ready to launch a pilot of it in the coming year. You'll learn a lot more about TriLab in a few minutes, and the tri means three, and there are actually different ways to think of what those three components are. I tend to think of it as something that connects research, education, and engagement with the world. And those three things put together, knitted together in a very integrative way, I think of as just being incredibly powerful. The mission of Brown is to serve the community, the nation, and the world. And we do that through our research, we do that through our education. But I think we realize that if our students and our faculty aren't really put in situations where they can work with and confront issues that are facing society, if they can't work collaboratively with others to grapple with solving those issues, then we're not really doing our job, producing students who are going to live lives of usefulness and reputation, as it says in our mission, and living up to our full potential as a research institution. So I'm just very excited about this, and I think the pilot will be great. I should also say that I know that over the course of planning, there was a lot of discussion about what topics to focus on first. And this is something where, as it continues, we'll do some Rhode Island focused things, we'll do some global things, things will be going on simultaneously. And there were many great possibilities, you know, lots of different areas that we could cover. I did not have a hand, I have to say, in selecting a focus on childhood health and development. It is what I do research on, but I did not have a hand in selecting it. But frankly, I couldn't be more pleased, because I think there are just some really important policy issues and societal issues that can be addressed over the course of the year. So with that, let me introduce our first speaker, Lieutenant Governor Elizabeth Roberts, a Brown alumna, happened to get her degree in human biology, and is someone who, again, I think one of the earliest people I met when I came to Rhode Island, and has just been incredibly valuable at giving me insight into the kind of what's happening in health and healthcare around the state. So, you know, and she's been a very strong advocate for high quality healthcare and a supporter of the sort of public health model that Brown is focusing on now with its new School of Public Health. So, Elizabeth, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Chris. And I think maybe everyone who comes up is going to say what the TRI means to them. So I'm going to tell you what the TRI means to me. It's the passion and creative vision of students linked with the commitment and knowledge of faculty and the community. In this case, the Rhode Island community. And there are leaders from all three areas sitting in this room, standing in this room, I think exceeding everybody's expectations about who would be in this room. And I think that this announcement and what you see here is a recognition that this is something that Brown is uniquely positioned to do, that Rhode Island is ready for, and that you see community leaders here who are saying, yeah, we want to link hands and get involved. And that we haven't had so many ways to do that before. And we've always figured out the reasons we couldn't do that before. Now we have a great vehicle. And I'm supposed to talk about the topic. Actually, that's my job up here today. And how really important early childhood and early childhood health are to a life well-lived, a successful life. Elizabeth Burke-Bryant, raise your hand. I've lost you already. Oh, you're in the front row. How could I lose you? Next week, we're going to gather for the Kids Count Breakfast, and we're going to get a snapshot of what's going on with young people in Rhode Island. Health, educational attainment, families. What is determining the future of our community? And that early childhood is when we set that stage. So there couldn't be a better choice for the beginning of this effort. I really look forward. I want to thank Betsy Schimberg, who I've also lost, who I said hi to, for coming to see us in my office, and I'm sure many others, and said, what do you think? What should we do? What do you think? It's exciting. We look forward to years of engagement and really strengthening the bond between those three parts that live together and will succeed together. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So what I'd like to do now is to introduce the two co-chairs who will be leading the pilot this year. And I would say both of these are people who I have known of but not come to know for quite some time. Professor Stephen Buca, professor and chair of Department of Epidemiology, really well known for his work on cohort studies of children and really tracking childhood health and development over time in a very wonderfully analytic and fine-grained way. So having him be part of this is just terrific. Elizabeth Burke-Bryant, who's the executive director of Rhode Island Kids Count, I have known of Kids Count for a long time. The Rhode Island Kids Count has a reputation for being just superb. And so having these two people working together, partnering together to lead this effort is just an example of how well we can do in this effort. So I wanted to invite them to come up. I don't know what order you want to take or how you want to do this. And tell us what you're going to do. Thanks.
Well, thanks, Chris and Elizabeth and everyone who's here for joining us. I guess try means we're going to try real hard to do something new, something different, something that makes an impact, something that educates Brown students in a novel fashion, and that really makes a change in the way business is done, both here at Brown and in the communities that we seek to serve. Goethe writes, "Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do." As the university academic co-chair of this important committee, I felt it was beholden upon me to start with a quote from an 18th century poet and writer. But it matters. Knowing is not enough, we must also apply. Willing is not enough, we must also do. Here at Brown, we have a thirst for knowledge. We have a passion for serving, but as Goethe reminds us, this alone is not enough. The tools of the scholars for discovery and for the production of new knowledge alone are insufficient. Our efforts all too often take place too far removed from where we will be the most fruitful. Too often we're putting our efforts where the light is brightest, not where the need is greatest. and that is why being able to serve with my co-chair, Elizabeth Burke-Bryant, who I've known for many, many years and who I admire so greatly, is going to make our work so much more important. She's going to help us refine the questions that the academic community solve and work on, and she'll help us gauge the means by which we can best disseminate and implement the fruits of our academic efforts. The other part of the TRI are the student partners, and what an exciting opportunity to be a student member of the TriLab community and group. An unparalleled opportunity to participate at the interface of discovery and application on a topic of such great importance. Student participants, we anticipate, will have the opportunity to work directly with young children and families here in Rhode Island, to conduct developmental assessments, to conduct neighborhood surveys on needs and resources of families in Rhode Island, to evaluate early education activities, to be involved with ethnographic, anthropologic analyses of local neighborhoods, economic analyses of national funding streams and policies, policy analyses, historical reviews, and more. This is a large, important, fundamental topic. We are very fortunate that the Rhode Island community is so knowledgeable, collaborative, and experienced in these areas. We in the academic community are humble by all of the knowledge that our community partners represent, and the chance for students to come and work with the tools of the scholar and the knowledge and the experience of the community experts is really unparalleled. From my work over the past 30 years, which has involved following large cohorts for decades, work that Lou Lipset initiated here at Brown University, it's clear that the early period from pregnancy through the first 5 years are just fundamental for the future of populations. And if there's one area where we as a community should try to have impacts, it is on the healthy development in those periods. It's core for so many contemporary social concerns: education, health, social welfare, and well-being. Recent exciting discoveries that are coming from our colleagues in the neurosciences, as is being reported this morning with John Donahue, the BIBS, the Brain Institute, the Brown Institute for Brain Sciences, all fit into this. So there's very exquisite science and very relevant and important policy, and it's this ability to focus on the biological aspects and the implications at the population level, which really also captures Brown's strength and diversity. That's the heart of what I wanted to say. That's what the TRI is. It's university research, scholarly skills, it's community knowledge, expertise, and spirit of collaboration, and it's the critical role of young students and trainees who can both help ask questions and answer them. I'm delighted to be working with Elizabeth. I'm delighted that this topic was selected, and I'm humbled to be in this position and to work with the great talent that we bring onto this topic. Thank you.
Steve, it is great to be a co-chair with you. It is such an honor to even be in this room with all of you and to see what an incredible excitement and interest this idea is gathering across the state and here at Brown. I am just so excited to be in the room, and so excited that, as President Paxson said, you absolutely have no hands on the topic, but when I heard you speak, it was a few months ago, about your research, and then I heard about the gathering steam for the TriLab. I said, what an opportunity moment this is, to have a new leader in our Brown president whose life's work has been the healthy development of our poorest children, and then to have such energy by Roger and the team at Swearer Center, Betsy Schimberg running around like an Energizer bunny, talking to anyone who had any ideas to share, and there's just so much momentum building in the state. So I just wanted to say a few words about how well positioned Rhode Island is for this moment, this unprecedented moment that Brown is stepping up to bring the TRI, in my book, same as Elizabeth Roberts, faculty, students, community together in an unprecedented way to go deeply into a way to move the ball on one of our most pressing both issues and opportunities in Rhode Island. In Rhode Island, there are 14,280 young children who are living below the poverty line. That is 20% of all of Rhode Island's children. About 1 in 5 are living in poverty. And we know that a good share of those children live in what we call extreme poverty, half the poverty line. I think what is really the opportunity, a moment about that number is that I've always said, and many of my community partners here have said, that Rhode Island is a laboratory state. We have numbers that big states would be jealous of, and we also have dynamics in our state that give us just as many challenges as big cities and states across the country. Due to our number of kids in poverty and our diversity, which is a tremendous strength of Rhode Island, but also a challenge as we try to reach out to all of our families, whether they're Southeast Asian or Latina families. So we become really a working laboratory in all of our work on these most vulnerable children. So I think what we have is we have a real winning combination. That this has been elevated to the first TriLab gives it such excitement and importance, and hopefully as a pilot will help really lead the way about how this can work. We have tremendous strength in this state and a tradition of coming together. And as I look out on this room, I want to be sure that we all know that the community part is really an amazingly engaged community, as President Paxson and Lieutenant Governor Roberts said. In the room, I'm just one community partner. We have so many out there. I see Shanavi from the SEDC, Southeast Asian Economic Development Center. Leanne Barrett is here with me from Kids Count, and our board member, Dr. Bill Hollinshead. I see Amy Mitchell. This is just going around the room, from Children's Friend, from Ready to Learn Providence, a real trailblazer in terms of how do we get to and communicate with our lowest income families in our Latina and Latino neighborhoods, Leslie Gell, and of course Pat McWigan from a great other data partner, the Providence Plan. I look and I see A.T. Wall. You know, talk about the prison, the pipeline to prison that we have to stop, that starts when our children who are young and living in poverty don't have what they need on every step of the stepway from 0 to the end of 3rd grade. We used to just do silos, the early childhood years, the early grades. Now what we know about child development is it's got to be a continuum like it is for all of our kids. So I just couldn't be more excited. I think this whole endeavor will further put Rhode Island on the map as a national leader to say we know what it takes to give children what they need. We will have the brilliance of the faculty members here, the brilliance and energy of the students, and the long-time efforts and experience of our community partners. And so many times there's missteps, whether you're looking at community efforts that don't engage enough from academia or academic efforts that don't engage enough students and community members. This really puts it all together. So I think what we're going to do, we're a data-based organization. We're going to really have indicators of success. We're going to see where we're starting out. We're going to really focus like a laser beam on a couple of things that this can really contribute to a solution for, and hold ourselves accountable for results. And I have no doubt that we are going to be moving the needle in the right direction. The last thing I want to close with is that sometimes things happen for a reason, the stars align. We've had, and I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for her leadership on this, we've had an amazing track record in this state on focusing on children's health care. We've made it a priority in our state. We now have around 94.5% of our children covered by health insurance coverage that is very high quality in the Right Care program, and we are really, really watching to be sure that as we go to national, the ACA implementation, that we absolutely build on the strengths of our child-centered care and don't lose any of that, because we know that's what gives us good outcomes. At the same time, we're on the map for early learning, because Rhode Island was just one of 9 states to win the highly competitive Race to the Top Early Learning Challenge, and one of just 6 states in the whole country to win both Race to the Top K through 12 and Race to the Top Early Learning. That means we are starting this effort with a lot more engagement and focus than we've had in many years in both health and early education. So thank you for the honor of being the co-chair. To everyone in the room, there is a place for you to be in this effort, and it's going to be rolling down like a locomotive train, and I'm just happy to be aboard, and I know you all are too. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. So there actually is a different definition of the try in TriLab, and that has to do with the actual structure of the program and the way we envision it. The heart of the lab will be an immersive year-long seminar for faculty, students, and community partners. They'll focus around the topic. We expect that seminar to focus on specific problems that are defined by the group to generate possible solutions. This central year is bookended by a first year and a third year. So the first year is a year where we sponsor conferences that really connect the university and the community and start to generate activity and thinking around the topic. And then the third year, after the intensive year is over, is a time when teams from TriLab can access seed funding for collaborative research, new courses, new community initiatives. So it's sort of saying, what have we learned and where can we take it? The nice thing about this structure, assuming that the first year is successful, and we really are going into this as the idea that this is a pilot, is that we can then overlap these TriLabs. So we can have several running concurrently with different labs at different stages as we go forward, which will make it very interesting. So what I would like to do now is to invite our Dean of the College, Catherine Bergeron, up to tell us a little bit more about the substance of TriLab. So thanks.
Good morning. This is actually a very exciting day, and I'm so happy to be here to be able to say a little bit more about what you are learning about this morning, this exciting new educational experiment that we're calling the TriLab at Brown. So as Dean of the College, I have the responsibility of stewarding the Brown curriculum. And in that capacity, I had the enviable job this year of leading a strategic planning committee to contemplate the curriculum of the future. So Roger Nozaki came to one of the first meetings of that committee in the fall to discuss the TriLab idea, which, as Chris explained, had been already in incubation for some time. And I can tell you, at that meeting, it was love at first sight. Everyone was immediately excited about the concept and its potential to transform not just teaching and research, but also student learning. And I want to say a few more words about that aspect. What TriLab means for student learning. Brown, as you know, attracts students who are good at many things. Students who are keen to make connections between what they learn in class with what they do outside of class, in that Goethe kind of model that Steve was talking about. Students who ultimately want to make an impact, to make a difference in the world. And the TriLab, I think, offers a platform for the students to make those connections and to make that difference. So, as Chris was just explaining, the Tri, to me, actually means a curriculum that takes place over the course of 3 years. And at the heart of that curriculum is the concept of an intensive, team-based seminar. I think of it as a kind of laboratory for exploration, in which students and faculty members and community practitioners, as you've been hearing, all work together to probe the dimensions of a problem and to find solutions. So this requires, I was thinking about it, this requires students really to draw on the fullest range of capacities and skills that we associate with a liberal education. The ability to communicate in nuanced ways. The ability to understand a community, to understand humans and their behaviors, to understand a community in its diversity and in its histories. The ability to read a problem closely and to interpret evidence and to analyze data. The ability to observe one's own environment with a keen eye and to listen deeply. And above all, the ability to work and learn in a collaborative environment. Now, we often tend to think about these aspects of an education as discrete pieces, like puzzle pieces that eventually come together to make up a bigger picture. But the beauty of the TriLab, to me, is that it brings all of these aspects together for a student in one year-long intensive experience in that central seminar. It's a remarkable opportunity for students to flip their learning, to become teachers and researchers as well as students by working side by side with experts who are trying to solve the same problems. But even more than that, it holds out the promise of collaborative discovery. The problems might seem large and intransigent, yes, and the solutions elusive. But through intensive, focused, and committed teamwork, there will be new ideas that have the potential to change the way we think, and yes, to change the world. That's the real meaning of impact. And that's why we're so excited about this curricular innovation at Brown. I really think of it as the classroom of the future, and I'm so proud of the Swear Center for actually taking the lead and building that classroom for us at Brown. And I want to thank Roger Nozaki and his team especially for their creative and dedicated work on this idea, which I had the privilege of seeing evolve from the hint of a suggestion to a fully fledged curriculum over the past year. And I want to also thank our president, Chris Paxson, for her leadership and her commitment to this wonderful idea, and for actually allowing us to come visit her a month before she took office to, you really got to get in there early if you want to have an impact. And this is actually, it's your leadership that is making this moment possible. And since I've also been speaking about our wonderful Brown students, the next thing I want to do is to turn the floor over to one undergraduate who will say a few words about what this initiative means to her. She's indeed a student who is good at many things, a student who wants to make a difference in the world. She's a member of the class of 2015, and she's pursuing a dual degree with Brown and Rhode Island School of Design with a focus on both urban studies and industrial design. So won't you welcome Allison Long.
Thanks for that introduction. Also, I wanted to say just thanks to everyone at the Swear Center for letting me share my perspective today. So studying industrial design and urban studies, I've been really interested in how you can really connect these systems thinking and critical analysis of urban studies with the more solution-based and creative problem-solving perspective of industrial design. And at Brown, I've been trying to be involved in projects where I can work on interdisciplinary teams to really connect my design interests with a more critical engagement with the world. And one outlet that I've found to do that is an organization called Design for America, which is a student-led organization of interdisciplinary teams. And we work on applying design to different local issues. My team is focusing on healthy food access, and we're specifically interested in how you can create different experiential learning opportunities to foster a deeper understanding of food and health with kids at an early age. And being involved with this organization has really shown me the value of multidisciplinary problem solving. I think that if you really start with the needs of the user and bring different backgrounds to the table, we can really create more sustainable solutions to problems that face our cities today, like healthy childhood development. It's been really inspiring to me to be part of this group of students so excited about creating a change in the world and creating something tangible with their skills and knowledge. So like me, I know a lot of students are really passionate about what they're studying, but they're wondering, how does this relate to the real world? And I think the TriLab, for me, is just an incredible platform to be able to bring these two worlds together, to connect the value of academic learning with a different purpose in practice. And not only is it a new way of learning, but I think it's also a really exciting opportunity to be involved in a different form of creative problem solving and a way to harness our education to really make an impact. It's also exciting to me that the university is really recognizing and valuing these new forms of connections, connections that really seem natural. So I am applying to the TriLab, and if this sounds exciting to any students in the room, I would also invite you to apply. There's an info session tomorrow at noon in the Third World Center, and you can also access more information on the Swearer Center website. And the application is there too. All right, thank you.
So thanks very much, Allison. This is one of the, as I always say whenever I follow a Brown student who's spoken, for some reason I keep setting up that order and realize it's a terrible mistake to follow a Brown student who's spoken, because they do such a great job. But thanks, Allison, for those great remarks. I'm Roger Nozaki. I'm Associate Dean in the College for Community and Global Engagement and Director of the Swearer Center. And I want to thank all of you for joining us here today. For all of us at the Swearer Center, this is a terrifically exciting day as we launch a new model for bringing together the assets and the expertise of the community and the university to address significant social issues. As you've heard from the several speakers this morning, there are several principles that, from our perspective at the Swearer Center, lie at the heart of the TriLab. Holding relationships at the center of this work, framing the university and the community as equal partners, learning and working together, and integrating multiple disciplines, perspectives, and forms of knowledge. We believe that this approach will catalyze innovative research and teaching and lead to significant social impact. I also wanted to just mention that it wasn't by accident that we're having this event here in the Granoff Center. So since the topic had something to do with health, we first of all had to find a location where you needed to climb at least 4 flights of stairs to get there. But in addition to that, thanks to Richard Fishman's vision, the Granoff Center was really created structurally and conceptually as a place that brings together different disciplines and allows for cross-fertilization of ideas that leads to innovation and innovative approaches. And that clearly is a central theme of the TriLab as well, that we want to foster by we're not simply throwing a bunch of different people together in a room, but we're deliberately creating an environment in which those different disciplines and perspectives can come together to explore innovative approaches to central and significant questions. I also wanted to recognize the many, many people who contributed to all the work that led to today. So I have to start with the TriLab triumvirate of Alan Harlem, Kate Trimble, and Betsy Schimberg, who really came up with the core vision of this idea and invested countless hours over the past year and a half to really to fill out the design and the development of the TriLab concept. So thanks to them for their incredible leadership and work. So this work was also based on the 25-year history of the Swearer Center and the foundation of relationships, partnerships, and principles that the Swearer Center staff have worked very hard on for 25 years now. We were also inspired and pushed by many, many students over the years who were pushing us to find better ways to connect their community work in the curriculum. And this morning I just want to recognize Anthony White and Mani Jean Gitter of UCS, who were instrumental in providing leadership and input over the past year as well. And then I want to thank the nearly 200 faculty members, students, and community partners who very generously gave their time and thoughts to the formation of this idea over the past year. And to them, we hope that this initiative will be true to the suggestions, to the cautions, and to the inspiration that you shared with us over the past year. Thanks to Steve Buca and Elizabeth Burke-Bryant for stepping forward into somewhat uncharted territory with us, but it's exciting to have their leadership clearly. And of course, a huge thank you to President Paxton and Dean Bergeron for their leadership that is clearly what has turned this idea into a reality here at Brown. So across all these people and so many of you in the room, it has been truly a full team, full court effort over the past year, and we look forward to deepening these partnerships and this work with all of you over the coming months and years. Thanks very much. Now I turn back to President Paxton for a few final remarks.
So I think we have thanked everybody who needs to be thanked, except for one very important group, and I will do that, and then we will conclude. To launch this, we needed financial support. And we went to a group of Brown alums, people in the corporation, told them about the idea, and we're just delighted to see how quickly people got it and how excited they were and how willing they were to help us get this launched. So we owe special thanks to Jerome Vassalero and Mary Vassalero, both class of '74. Jerome is the vice chancellor of the Corporation of Brown. Chuck Royce, another corporation member, class of '61. Gary and Veronica Silberberg, who are in the class of 1982. Bill Wood, corporation member, class of '78. And Annie Chen, class of '85 in the RS group. So, you know, these are people who have really kind of come in to support us and back us, and I think that at the end of the year, we're going to have something great to show them. So thanks again to all of you for coming. Use this as an opportunity to get these three groups together and mingle and have fun. So thank you.